Our next guest hosts 3 radio programs, not 1, not 2, not 3, but one that airs all across the country.
And if that's not enough, he's also an author and a motivational speaker too, sharing ideas on how to maximize your potential and lead a vibrant and healthy and profoundly productive life.
2020's Minnesota Broadcaster of the Year, Freddie Bell from the People's Station, KMOJ, is here to share 5 facts with us. Freddie, great to see you.
Good to see you.
We've been talking about getting you on the show for a while, so I'm glad you're sitting here. It's awesome.
It's awesome to be with you guys. I see you're like partners with me every morning as we're preparing our show.
Well, that's kind of how we all got to know each other a little bit. Was I know you guys were watching in the studio as we were doing the early newscasts.
Right.
We started kind of communicating, and so it's cool to know that we're finally at this point.
And we kind of came to the realization that you are a fascinating person who has 5 facts that we're dying to know about.
That's right. Get this guy on TV.
So you get to be our second 5 facts guest.
Oh my gosh, I'm interested to see what it is too.
First was an employee, by the way, a new employee of ours. So.
So what do you got? You got 5 facts. Let's hear them.
I do. Well, you mentioned Broadcaster of the Year.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. Go ahead.
Oh no. So what's the deal with Prince? He called this. He called what?
He called. I was hosting a show in the 90s, 95, Solid Gold Soul. And someone called, as they always do, and they wanted to hear a song. And he says, Prince is on the line for you. And I'm like, right, Prince. He goes, I'd like for you to play a song. And I said, okay, great. And then he hung up. In the next hour, a CD arrived by limo, and it was Betcha by Golly Wow from the forthcoming Emancipation CD.
Wow.
And we were the first to play it anywhere in the country.
Did Prince call you? Was he listening? Was he like, I mean, the first time he heard it on the radio, so I'm curious what he thought about all of it.
He was talking through his assistant, and I could hear him on the line.
Yeah.
Well, Prince wants to know if you'll play it. And I told him, yes, we'll play. He goes, okay, good. He wants to know, Freddie wants to know if you'll do a liner for us, and tell him no.
That seems like a very Prince response, right? So, Freddie, you've recently had a bit of a physical transformation going on here.
Yes. In the last, almost exactly 2 years ago, I started on this quest of just trying to get healthy. A lot of black people have instances of diabetes and just being overweight, and it causes all kind of problems. And I saw the mayor's assistant, his security, Todd Firth, and I asked him what he did. He went through a transformation. And he says, Freddie, simply just start eating differently and exercise.
Wow,
and,
look at you. You really have.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at that guy.
But that's my older brother.
That's funny.
But it's amazing the transformation that takes place. I feel better. I can run and play with my grandchild. I can shoot baskets again. But it's so freeing to be a little bit lighter, almost 100 pounds lighter. But now Chris and Megan have to figure out what to do with the suits that are in my closet.
Yeah, well, there's that, right?
You can donate. There's a lot of people in need.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's not an easy feat.
It's fun.
Your third fun fact is you're working with the AG on, go ahead.
Yes, Keith Ellison called the other day, and he called a lot of people, so I don't feel really special, but he wanted to ask us if we would help him with an initiative to vaccinate people in the North community. It's a big initiative for him because his mother was the first of anyone that I knew who passed away from COVID.
I remember that.
So we got together, you can't say no to Keith Ellison, and we got together in a parking lot near North Point Health and Wellness Center, and it was a party. We brought together music and just interesting people, folks who had said to us that they would never even consider getting a vaccination, and they did so on that day.
Wow.
It was a really great event. Governor Walz stopped by wearing a blue suit in the hot sun. He didn't get the message that this was an outside event, but it was great being with Keith and helping him with his initiative. He's doing some good things in our community.
Powerful to be part of something like that.
So, Freddie, one of the reasons, folks, we really wanted to bring Freddie on is because he's a very motivational guy. He's a smart guy, and you've written a book as well. Tell us about that.
Yes, it's called Words to the Wise, and it came from just the basic messaging that we give on the air each day. You can do anything that you set your mind to. That's the one for today. You can do anything that you set your mind to. And so the question becomes, well, what is that? Well, that's up to you. It's the word to the wisdom that's inside of you. And it opens up a lot of different discussion about how people can exact the best part of who they are. It is all internal work, and it's exciting to see the reaction so far to it. words of the wise, and it really can change lives, in my opinion. It's changed mine, just looking at the words that I've written over time.
And I bet you in the last 18 months, it has caused people to pause in a different way than it did pre-pandemic, those words of the wise. I think we're all reflecting a lot more on how we can make a difference, how we can change. And so I would imagine your words are really helping people today a lot more than.
I hope so. It's interesting seeing the reaction online, in social media. The takeaways that come from these words are far different than I could ever have imagined, and that's the real beauty of it, because it's so personal, it's so introspective, and if you can go inside and figure out what it is that you can do to make an impact on your own life, it really touches others, and I hope that's what we're doing.
So Freddie, before we go, we have to mention that we both have an Omaha connection. My wife's from Omaha. I worked in Omaha at Channel 3. Your Omaha connection?
Yes, I worked at Channel 7. My wife is an Omaha native. In fact, we were just there this past weekend. And it's just so wonderful that you mentioned KMTV and KETV actually were right across the street from each other.
Right.
And the Crossroads, you mentioned something about the Crossroads. It's just an amazing town, and good people like Chris and your wife come from Omaha.
Twin Cities people don't always appreciate everything that is Omaha, but Omaha's a great town. So, Freddie, we're going to have to leave it there, okay?
Sounds good.
Great to see you, my man.
You can listen to Freddie weekday mornings from 6 to 9, 89.9 FM KMOJ. The show is also available online via the TuneIn Radio app.